Welcome to today's deep dive. Ready to go beyond pretty patterns and explore a world where textiles tell stories?
I'm excited to dive in.
We're focusing on the Susi Songket Collection from Jambi, Indonesia.
Jumpy Songket.
Each motif in this collection isn't just a design.
Oh, it's so much more than that.
It's packed with cultural significance and philosophy. It's like a window into their world.
Exactly. Each piece tells a story. For anyone new to Songket, it's a hand-woven textile. They use gold or silver threads, often, to create these really intricate designs.
It's luxurious, yeah.
Yeah.
And in Jambi, these Songket motifs, they're like these little time capsules filled with local legends and beliefs.
You even get glimpses of historical events woven right in.
So, ready to unravel some of these threads?
Absolutely. Let's start with Tagapo Bungo Sulur.
Okay, Tagapo Bungo Sulur.
Imagine this, okay. A lush vine just overflowing with flowers.
Beautiful.
And it symbolizes a life full of abundance and prosperity.
It's like those gorgeous floral displays, you know, the ones that cascade with flowers. Except it's woven into this textile that can last for generations.
Exactly. The name itself gives us clues to the meaning. Tagapo translates to scattered, and Bungo Sulur means flowering vine. So it's like, imagine blessings scattered throughout life.
Weaving right into the fabric of it.
Yeah.
And there's another layer to Tagapo, right? I read that it can also mean hurried.
Oh, that's right.
And some stories say that comes from weavers, like rushing to finish a Songket as tribute to the king.
Wow. Talk about dedication.
Right. And speaking of dedication, the Seluan Mudik motif really embodies that.
Oh, yes.
So picture this. Tiny fish, they're called Seluan, leaping upstream against the current.
It's powerful imagery.
It reminds me that sometimes the toughest journeys are the most rewarding.
You got it. Mudik is so important in Indonesian culture. It's that journey home, often for holidays or special occasions.
Like a pilgrimage back to one's roots.
Exactly. So the motif reminds us to stay grounded.
To honor where you come from, no matter where life takes you.
Exactly. And it took Susi Songket an entire year to perfect this design. The asymmetrical shape of the Seluang fish was a real challenge to recreate.
Wow, a whole year. That's commitment to preserving these traditions. Okay, now let's travel to a village that's bursting with both sweetness and symbolism. The Nanas Moro motif.
The pineapple.
The powerful symbol in so many cultures.
Oh, absolutely.
And here, it represents unity and justice.
And in Jambi, it's even more special because of the golden village of 1,000,000 pineapples in Muaro Jambi.
Okay, now I'm picturing those amazing Southeast Asian markets.
Uh-huh.
With rows and rows of fresh pineapple.
Oh, yeah.
All those amazing pineapple treats, like fresh fruit, chips, jams,
Yeah.
maybe even pineapple doodle.
Absolutely. And alongside the pineapple, you have the swan, another important symbol for Jambi,
It's swan,
often seen as a representation of togetherness and love.
which makes this motif even richer in meaning.
It does.
It captures the essence of the region, their natural beauty, the warmth of the community, and their emphasis on unity and love. And from unity, we shift to a motif that delves into a legend, the Angsa duo.
This one tells the story of how a community came to be.
Perfect. I love a good origin story. Are you familiar with the legend of Orang Kayo Hitam and his Karas Siginjai dagger?
I'm not. Fill me in.
Okay, so the legend goes, Orang Kayo Hitam defeats this rival, right? And he does it with his magical Karas Siginjai dagger. Then he marries the rival's daughter, Mayang Manggarai,
Wow.
and they're looking for the perfect place to settle.
Okay.
They follow this pair of swans swimming down the Batanghari River.
Swans.
Those two swans, the Angso duo, they guide the couple to what becomes their home.
That's amazing. Talk about a legendary house hunt.
Right, and this motif isn't just about the story itself.
No, it goes deeper.
It represents what those swans, the Angso duo, mean to the Melayu Jambi community. Their simplicity, their connection to tradition.
That's bond with the land.
It's like their origin story woven into an image.
Yeah.
So we've got the origin story of a community, and now we're moving to a motif inspired by a personal story.
Donjaruju. This one was a special commission for Susi Songket.
Oh, interesting.
Back in 2015, the region of Sabak requested it. Donjaruju is a plant you find all over the Tanjab Timur region.
And what's fascinating about this one is that Susi Songket adapted it.
Mm.
It was originally a batik motif, but they transformed it into Songket.
It's a great example of keeping traditions alive by finding new ways to express them. And they even incorporated elements of an ancient motif, the Tumpul Pukuk Rebong, which they found at the Siginjai Museum.
It's a blend of the old and new. From innovation, we go to pure emotion with the merak engeram motif.
Ah, yeah.
This one really tugs at the heartstrings. The merak engeram, or nesting peacock, is all about maternal love, that unwavering, selfless devotion that mothers give.
It's such a tender image.
I love how Susi Songket has connected it to the 9 months of pregnancy and 2 years of breastfeeding.
The amount of dedication and sacrifice involved in motherhood, it's universal, and this motif captures it perfectly.
It does. And on that note of heritage and legacy, the Kuno Karinchi motif is a powerful reminder of the importance of family history.
This one's fascinating. A customer came to Susi Songket with this treasured Songket heirloom. It had been passed down through their family, and they wanted Susi Songket to recreate it.
Wow, what a special request. What did Susi Songket find when they started to research the heirloom?
It was a blend of motifs from Karinchi and those ancient tumpole patterns from the Sigunje Museum. Imagine holding a piece of your family's past like that, woven into a textile.
It speaks to how objects can connect us to the people who came before us. It's more than just a pretty design, it's tangible history.
It is.
It's a tangible link to our heritage.
And from family legacies, we journey to a motif that evokes a sense of royalty, grandeur.
Ooh, I'm intrigued.
The Perahu Kajang Lako.
Okay, Perahu Kajang Lako.
It's a magnificent royal barge. Imagine it gliding down the river.
Elegant. Like something out of a movie.
The kajang refers to the roof of the barge. It adds to that majestic feel. The Perahu Kajang Lako was more than just transport. It was a statement.
A symbol of status.
Exactly. Leisure and status intertwined. And what's fascinating is how Susi Songket has brought this symbol from the past into modern fashion.
It's true. You see it in their designs now. It's like they're bridging tradition and contemporary style.
Tradition and modernity don't have to be at odds with each other.
They can complement each other.
Absolutely. Now, for a motif that sounds as enchanting as its meaning, Bintang Bitungku.
Bintang Bitungu. Okay, break that down for me.
Bintang means star, and it symbolizes victory, reaching for those high aspirations.
Okay, so bintang is ambition, striving.
Yeah.
What about bitungu?
Tunku refers to the heart of the home.
Ah, so family, warmth, unity.
Exactly. So together, they paint this picture of lasting success, a legacy built on a strong foundation. And to really ground it in Jambi's identity, they've woven in the Angso Duo motif.
It's like this beautiful tapestry of symbolism. And it makes you think, what would your bintang bitungu be? What dreams do you want to pass down? What values? Now, from enduring legacy to a motif that shares that celestial theme, bintang tagapo.
We have bintang, that star element again. But with tagapo, remember, it can mean scattered. It adds this sense of vastness, limitless potential.
It's like looking up at a night sky filled with stars, each one a different possibility.
Exactly, a universe of opportunities. And for those who prefer that hurried interpretation of tagapo, it adds a layer of urgency, like we need to grab onto those opportunities quickly. Be decisive.
I like that, a little push to be bold. Okay, from a sky full of possibilities, we shift to a motif that feels more grounded, maybe even a little bit cautionary. The Kapal Sangat.
Ah, yes, the Kapal Sangat, or stranded ship, reminds us to be mindful, to think things through.
Because rushing into things can sometimes lead to getting stuck.
Exactly. It highlights the importance of understanding the rules, paying attention to detail.
It's a good reminder to approach things with awareness and a plan. Okay, now for a motif that resonates with me deeply. Kenyok Duig. It speaks to self-doubt, that feeling of not knowing if you're on the right path.
This one was particularly meaningful for Susi. It reflects her own anxieties when she first started her business. Kenyok Duig means looking back. And the motif depicts these geese flying together, but one is looking back, like it's searching for itself.
It's that moment of uncertainty, right? Wondering if you're where you're supposed to be. But the goose isn't alone. It's part of a flock.
It has that support system.
It's a beautiful reminder that we're not alone in our journeys. We have people around us who can offer guidance and support. Okay, let's explore another motif that combines familiar elements. Tagapo Tumpal Angso. We've seen Tagapo and the Angso duo, but what's unique about this combination?
Tagapo, meaning abundance, is paired with Tumpal Engso, which features the iconic Engso duo. And remember how we talked about the language of flowers, how they were used for communication back in the 18th century?
Right, like secret messages.
So the Tagapo Tumpal Engso could be seen as a scattering of sweet sentiments, a way to express feelings subtly.
Or if we go with that hurried interpretation of Tagapo, it could represent the rush of emotions.
The excitement of expressing yourself. It's amazing how these motifs have these multiple layers of meaning.
Now, from expressing affection, we move to a motif that embodies both beauty and a hint of darkness. Bungo Tarampit.
The crumpet flower is gorgeous, but it has a complex history.
You mentioned it has hallucinogenic properties.
Yes, so while it represents celebration and success, there's also the potential for misuse.
It reminds us that things aren't always what they seem. It's important to be aware of the full story.
And this duality is reflected in its use by herbalists in the Andes. They use it for spiritual communication, but it's often shrouded in secrecy.
There's that element of mystery and debate surrounding it, kind of adds to its allure. And speaking of blending influences, the Malayu motif really highlights that cultural fusion.
It does. You've got that mix of Malay Songket traditions with the distinct Tumpal Engso of Jambi. Creates this unique blend.
It shows how cultures inspire each other, borrow from each other. It's like a cultural exchange woven into art. And speaking of preserving artistic traditions, the Bungo Putat Jerik Berkebang and Bungo Putat Simut Bering motifs are incredible examples of that.
Susi Songket recreated those meticulously.
Yeah, from pieces they found at the Sigenjay Museum.
Imagine that, piecing together these ancient patterns from fragments.
It must have taken them years.
Years of study and experimentation.
It makes you think about all the stories those fragments could tell, like the hands that created the original designs, the occasions they were worn for.
It's like holding a piece of history.
It's incredible that they were preserved at all.
It really is. Without museums and archives, so much would be lost.
And with the Bungo Putat Simut Bering, it's interesting how Susi Songket calls it Umpak Nago.
They saw dragon figures flanking the bamboo shoot and reinterpreted it based on their own artistic vision.
It shows how artists can bring their own perspective to these ancient forms while still honoring the original. Okay, from reviving ancient designs, we move to a motif that's all about beauty and resilience. The Bungo Rayo.
The hibiscus flower. It's a classic symbol of grace. And in this motif, it's placed within the tompal at the head of the cloth, which also features the pukuk rebung, the bamboo shoot.
The bamboo shoot, symbolizing new beginnings, that ability to overcome challenges.
Exactly. And of course, we see that familiar Engso duo woven in as well.
Bringing it back to Jambi's identity.
It's a reminder that beauty and strength are intertwined. They go hand in hand.
And for a motif that's just heartwarming, there's the Tankai Bungo Maz. I feel like it's a metaphor for cherishing the important relationships in our lives.
The tankai, or stem, provides that strong foundation.
The base, the support.
And the bungo, the flower, represents those precious feelings.
As valuable as gold Maz.
It's a reminder that relationships need nurturing.
Like a delicate flower. But the rewards are immense when you put in the effort.
Exactly. And finally, we have two motifs that offer a glimpse into Susi Songket's process. The Kuno Museum Sigenjay and the Don Pakis.
The Kuno motif is so mysterious.
It's from the museum, but it's unnamed.
It's like a puzzle waiting to be solved.
They call it the small ancient motif. And the elements in it, like the white jasmine, the eight-pointed star, they could have so many interpretations.
It shows how much there still is to discover and learn about these ancient art forms. And then you have the Don Pakis motif, which was inspired by requests from the acting region of Moro Jambi.
He was struck by the beauty of ferns, how abundant they are in that region.
It shows how Susi Songket is connected to the community, finding inspiration from nature.
It does. So as we wrap up this incredible deep dive into the world of Jambi Songket,
What have we learned?
these motifs aren't just pretty designs. They're stories, symbols, expressions of a rich culture and heritage. They connect us to the past, to the land, to each other.
I'm just blown away by the level of detail and meaning woven into each piece.
And for you listening, remember this. Look closer, observe the world around you, ask questions. There are stories everywhere waiting to be discovered.
Whether it's a textile, a painting, a piece of pottery, everything has a story to tell if you take the time to listen.
We hope this deep dive has sparked your curiosity, your appreciation for these cultural treasures.
And inspired you to see the world with fresh eyes. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.